All right, and this one's going out to next Tuesday, even though it's last Tuesday, but I mean last Tuesday is today. All right, it is like 11:31, July 1st. Getting close to freedom, freedom, freedom. Oi, baby! Sorry. I like the idea. I don't like some of the control systems built up around the idea. That's what we're here for. Mark Passio's Natural Law Seminar. Now, we're on part 12. Technically, this is part 2 or 3 of a 9-10 hour seminar. Passio on fire right now. Control systems, the controller versus the controllee. The enslaved versus the enslaver. Brain misbalance and others. Part 11, Rollen made some deep discoveries about himself. Technically, I'm still in the midst of this therapy session, so we're just getting right back into it. Let's go.
And if you want a world that continues to propagate slavery, you'll stay in one of those forms of brain imbalance. And this right brain imbalance, in addition to religious extremism and slave think, is the hallmark of the New Age movement and their followers, their religious followers. Now, there's a balance that is struck between these, okay? And that's what everything really is ultimately about, creating a balance. Because there are components to these two worldviews that if they come together, it shows us what the truth is. And here it is right in the middle here. There is a deterministic component to reality, and there is a random component to reality, existing in cooperation with each other, in conjunction with each other. The deterministic component is what I'm talking about here today and referring to under the banner of natural law.
Oh, balance. Balance is what we're talking about. And I tried to find that image, and a rant from part 10 or 11 was very accurate. So the only thing I got with the search was the co-opted opinion and politicalization of the image. And we are here discussing that represents union, balance, sacred feminine, sacred masculine come together in a perfect union. An idea existing before political systems and control systems, I would gather. At least the people at the Masonic Hall and the Pancake Breakfast will tell you that. I think you got to go through a lot of rituals to get that knowledge. But I will, from now on, because of Passio, this represents balance, not whatever anyone else thinks. Weirdly enough, we've had it explained to us. So we're going to incorporate the symbolism because balance is important.
That is determined. It is law. It is set. You're not changing it. With each other, in conjunction with each other. The deterministic component is what I'm talking about here today and referring to under the banner of natural law. That is determined. It is law. It is set. You're not changing it. It works that way flawlessly 100% of the time.
As he explained earlier on, there are pre-existing conditions in place that make that statement true. You can deny them, but you cannot deny the outcome or consequences of the actions which makes the law true. If you can't forego the consequences, it means there was a set of rules in place. You knew the outcome because it's always the same.
That's determined. Natural law is determined. Okay? It's the deterministic component to reality. Then there is a randomness component to reality that works continuously in conjunction with natural law. And this is a little thing called free will. Our ability to choose our behaviors, to do certain things and to not choose to do certain things. And we have it. Every individual has it, no matter what position, no matter what situation they're in. I don't care what institution you're in. I don't care who you've listened to up to this point. I don't care what background you come from. I don't care what economic class you come from. Every single solitary being that is capable of thinking at all is gifted with free will. You have free will to choose your behaviors, and so does every other human being. Everyone. Okay?
Now, if you listen to the WEF, the IMF, the Bilderbergers, the cremation of care set out there at Bohemian Grove, they're saying they're going to turn that off, that's an illusion. No. If the universe created you in a certain way with a certain chemical balance, makeup, physiology that makes you the human you are, imposed in that system is that elusive soul, intellect, conscience component that they are so hard to quantify. Well, of course it's hard to quantify. Quantum phasing really throws a wrench into the mix, doesn't it? Where does everything go when it's not here? You'd have to look into the isolation of, what is that, a single proton? Or whatever it is. I can't say I understood it all. But I did read it cover to cover. I can't say that I get it. But I did go down this one, physics of the what would it take to build the Death Star that Miku Kaku, I think that's the one. I did his book, a couple other ones. Because it turns out maybe the part that they can't quantify, and I heard this on a Tinfoil Hat special show, well, maybe that's because it exists in another realm simultaneously. Interdimensional component of your existence. I am saying shit for entertainment purposes only. I'm saying I heard some other people talk about it, and I think it applies to this moment. So, very interesting. Let's keep going. Okay.
That is capable of thinking at all is gifted with free will. You have free will to choose your behaviors, and so does every other human being.
Turning it off. Yeah. So I worry. Because if all the pre-existing conditions are met for this to be true, the existence of conscious and self, and the boldness of the technocratic leaders to think that they can control that, but then they're going to place different pre-existing conditions in place to make their set of rules true. So how can you not, getting back to him ripping on Passio's disdain for the New Age movement, how can you believe that your technocratic leaders control system by interjecting hormones, compounds, or electronical control systems into your body? How come their set of pre-existing conditions to manipulate you and control you are good, but the universe creating this perfect system is somehow problematic? Why is it that what the occulted knowledge people understand is so simple? I just find it so simple, and general society would rather have a person do it with a robot and a computer, not their brain and their soul. Just pisses me off.
Everyone. Okay? It's a gift of creation itself. Okay, we can choose what we will do and not do. Nobody can actually make anybody do something like a robot. Oh, believe me, there's people who are trying.
Shit. I believe this section might have been really taken to heart by me because I'm pretty sure I just made my own shitty Cliff Notes versions of what he's saying. Yeah, this is a pretty influential area for me.
Actually make anybody do something like a robot. Oh, believe me, there's people who are trying, you know, like Art talked about, Jose Delgado. Was searching for means to electronically, directly control through chip implants and stimulus through chip implants in the brain, human behavior, like a robot, to put a technology into the brain to control the behavior of the individual. And that went on right here. This is where that took place, folks, right on Yale's campus, okay? Read some of his stuff. You want to be disturbed? You think what I'm telling you is somewhat disturbing. Read some of Delgado's material. He was telling people, we're going to show you that free will doesn't exist. We're going to show you there's no such thing as rights.
Yeah, so we're here. Now the world leaders, technocrats are saying that shit out loud at their meetings. I just watched a Yuri, whatever the fuck is, I want to control you all as robot flesh slugs. He said it multiple times. He laughs and giggles. And the rich people who invest in this shit, they laugh and giggle too. That's controlling you. They're laughing and giggling about. Why doesn't that alone offend people? Because they don't comprehend what's really going on at the cremation of care ceremony out in the woods with with the prostitutes and the LARPing as wizards, destroying any care for humanity so they can manipulate it, control it to their own will. Sounds like dark occultism to me. Sounds like dark occultism run wild, and people would rather watch sports. Really, bread and circuses is all it takes?
That we make up what rights are. The ruling class makes up what a right and a wrong is. We tell you what it is, and you have no choice. And he's telling you, we're going to show you you have no rights, that you're our slaves. Yeah, read some of his material. And an excellent book Art recommended too, Jim Keith, Mass Control, The Engineering of Human Consciousness. If you haven't read that book, get it and read it. And that's just an introduction. And many people think he was murdered over it. You know, so.
Well, the problem is they really use that suspicious ending of oneself. Whew, I almost said the S word there. They hate the S word. But funny how you can get, tied to a tree, lacerated all up and down your back, and somehow you magically still did yourself in. Not that any of that exists. It's all clean and simple. I'm sure the control system can't be bought. They never lie to us about shit like that, right?
Truth lies in the middle of these worldviews. There's a deterministic component called natural law. There's a random component called free will, our ability to choose our behavior freely. So let's look at this debate that's been going on since time immemorial of human nature versus human nurture. And again, I'm getting ready to piss everybody off, okay? This debate's been going on forever. Which is it? What's human nature really look like? What's its essence? Is it angelic or demonic? Okay? I would say it's neither. It's neither one of these things. It's not both. It's neither. So nobody wins here, who falls on one side or the other. And it's a very difficult thing for people to accept as well. Because when we ask the question, what is the nature of a human being? It's a very similar question to asking, what is the nature of this computer up on this platform? What is the nature of that projector? What is the nature of those cameras? Well, can I actually say what the nature of these things is? It's a computer. Its nature is to compute information. What is the nature of that projector? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it angelic? Is it demonic? Is that projector demonic? No. Its nature is that it projects imagery.
Okay, I was lost too. I was like, what do you mean? I wanted to go with we're both. But if you instantly realize both are the construct, both are the propaganda and the control system, and you are the free will flesh slug driving yourself through the predetermined set of rules handed down by the universe. Okay. I got lost there for a second.
Is that projector demonic? No. Its nature is that it projects imagery.
It's neutral. At the beginning of the channel, I like D&D analogies to character alignments from lawful good to chaotic evil and everything in between. This would be old school advanced Dungeons and Dragons before it was taken over by the woke crowd. I hear World of Warcraft has suffered the same fate. If I was a video review channel, we could be talking about the fall of that newest trailer for World of Warcraft and probably get the hate clicks aplenty. But it turns out it's just a thing that happened. I don't really need to reflect on how they've ruined it all. The character alignment rant is valid. We are capable of everything from lawful good to chaotic evil, everything in between, but we're just born neutral, existing within a preset of conditions that define existence. Everything else is what the humans created. They're your constructs.
What is the nature of these cameras? They capture imagery. That's all. So what's the nature of a human being? The nature of a human being is that it takes in information, it processes it, and then it outputs it through behavior. And as we're going to see, that's very much like a computer. I'm not saying that it is a computer. I'm saying it's like one. Okay? So human nature is neither inherently good nor inherently evil, as many people think fall on one side of this argument or the other. Instead, we should consider the operating conditions or the environment in which human beings exist, which influence...
Okay, sorry. Obviously, that was a quiz section for me. Lost on the imagery, nailed the answer. And that's just for me. Just making sure I wouldn't say support Mark Passio. I wouldn't say I listened for all these hours if I was just faking my way through it. I'm hoping that this entire seminar is part of my rhetoric on a constant. And one of the reasons people can't get behind, just play the song. You didn't hear anything I said ever, huh? Never once. You were just waiting for the song to play again. This is the wrong channel for that shit.
Influences behavior to a great extent, thus creating the current human condition. That's why it's called the human condition. It's not called, the situation we're in is called the human condition. It's not called the human nature, okay? It's called the human condition. There's a reason it's called a condition. For any condition to be in place, well, hey, what condition is my computer in right now? What condition is my projector in? What position is Richard's cameras in? They're in operating conditions. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing because they've been kept up in good condition. Okay, in the example of my computer, it has a working operating system without malware on it. Okay, it has software that does the job, that does what I'm asking it to do properly without bugs. Okay, those are the conditions. The operating conditions will determine how does it perform? What kind of output can it put out into the world? All right, so again, what I'm saying here is that human beings are like computers, not that they are computers. Let me just state that emphatically. We're not computers. we're like computers.
Now, of course, I'm a soul-driven flush slug guy. Honestly, I mean, it's, the machinery, which I think is well designed, give that person a raise. Now, that's just me speaking personally. Whoa. Yeah, that one didn't come out right. But yeah. And then, as I was saying, I'm not sure where the consciousness and all that stuff goes back and forth. I'm curious, not excited for the moment, but curious what's on the other side. Is that consciousness aware when I get to see where we quantum phase to? That's going to be a hell of a thing. Then you come back without the suit to drive. Are you aware of the surroundings? You just don't have a suit to be in? Woof! So interesting. But yeah, I don't think we're computers per se either.
Okay? We are programmable. That's the nature of a human being. How many people have ever heard anybody say that the nature of a human being is that a human being is programmable? To my knowledge, I'm the only person or researcher that is calling that human nature. Our nature is that we can be programmed. And there's another thing. That's another thing people don't want to hear. They don't want to hear this because they liken it to a mechanized machine. And I'm not saying, again, to emphasize, I'm not saying we are computers. I'm saying we're like them in the ways that we can be programmed. So what gets put into a person through the environment, which is called the culture, all right, and becomes their programming, determines what they will output onto the screen, which is called human life. And that will create the human condition in the aggregate as more and more people operate that way. All right, so let's look at how this works. Human beings are programmable much like computers. Like a computer, if a human being has a bad file system format, that's the first thing you do when you're going to get ready to use a computer. You have to format the drive. How many people here are somewhat techie? Not many. Okay, about a quarter to a third. All right. So some people will know what I'm talking about here. For the others, excuse the jargon for a moment. All right, I'll explain what it is. A file system format is you got to format the hard drive so you can prepare it for a specific operating system, which is basically the task controllers. It's going to control what happens on the computer, how programs get launched, how memory is used, etc. in a nutshell. All right, I do this for a living, so I know all the technical stuff. So I'll try to keep it simple. So if the human being has a bad file system format, right, this is akin to the operating conditions during a child's formative years, the first 6 years of their life, essentially. Now, think about it. We call this their formative years, their formative years, like a format on a hard drive, because this is what puts the file system into the human being, that prepares it for its operating system. Okay? So, largely, what programs the child at this stage is the parents and what they will see in their immediate environment and home and during their very early years in, quote, schooling. All right? Now.
Oh, that's where I did Brittany wrong. And the kids got done wrong, and I was done incredibly right. None of the poor aspects of my family unit were visible when we were there. Were really good with babies because they had so many miscarriages. They were grateful and caring. I'm going to go with caring too. My brother would argue loving is not a component that was in the family. But the formative years were caring based, and then soon after the formative years, let's say the first 12, pretty good. If travel, care, structure, work ethic, and principles are important to you, then yeah, those were good years. If feelings, emotional states, and imbalances are important, it was probably sucky. thus my brother being quite the opposite of myself on these subjects. Interesting.
If, like a computer, if a human being also has a bad operating system. Now, this is like Mac OS, Windows, Linux, etc. Android, iOS. These are operating systems. Again, they are basically providing a platform that other programs will run in, and they're providing a graphical user interface. This is your culture. The operating system is the culture in which the programs run, okay? So let's say if you have a bad operating system, meaning you're already surrounded in a bad environment, in a bad culture, right? That's also going to negatively impact the output. And then they have bad software programs. Now, these are the programs that you run. Now, if I didn't have a good presentation piece of software, my presentation might come out sloppy. It might crash in the middle of it. It might not display the graphics or the text properly, okay? So you got to make sure you're working with good, reliable software as well. Now, what the software is the belief systems, what the person has taken into the mind and is processed and made part of themselves. And now, if all of those things are bad, we have three bad components. The format is bad, the file system format, which is the formative years of the child, okay? The culture is bad, meaning they're already growing up in a bad culture or in a culture that condones moral relativism, etc., and doesn't understand natural law. And the software programs that have been input into the child are bad, meaning their belief systems, okay? What do you think the output of that, quote, computer is going to be like? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be chaotic? If I screw up my system's hard drive format, if I put an operating system that is like at alpha state and it's not ready for prime time because the development's not finished, it's half-baked, okay? And then I load crappy software that's full of bugs and the developers didn't really care about programming them correctly. Do you think that computer is going to operate properly and give me the output on the screen I'm looking for, or output on the printout I'm looking for, or output on the internet that I'm looking for? Good luck. Yeah. If you know a little bit about computers, you're laughing now because it would be ridiculous to assume that it could do that. Well, why do we think that we're going to have that in our environment when all of these things are badly programmed? See, the output onto the screen is also going to be horrible if all those three things, that determine how the system works are also bad. So it will contribute to deteriorating conditions on a mass scale. Like a computer, the behavior of a human being largely depends upon its programming. And its programming is the quality of the information that is being input into it. The quality of the information it's taking in. The quality of the information it's taking in is going to determine the quality of the information it's outputting, like any other computer. So if garbage goes in, surprise, garbage is going to come out. If good information goes in, quality will come out. And the output will be as one wants it to be. It will be able to process and create efficiently, effectively, not chaotically. Here's a very simple diagram.
That's perfect. Part 12, Mark Passio, Natural Law Seminar. I was just getting heavy. Not heavy, just getting long. We're an hour and a half in today. I'm not sure when they'll all come out. Maybe this week, next week, and another week, or however. But very, very cool. It's a lot to take in. I highly recommend supporting Mark, what he does. Go back, watch it from the beginning at your own pace. Use your pause button, rewind it, put on your closed captioning, whatever you need, and see what you get. I get a lot, even this third, fourth time, whatever it is. Many, many an hour spent, and I have no problem being reminded why I showed up, why I stayed, and why I keep going back. Mark Passio's Natural Law Seminar. Technically part 2 of 3. It's about a 10-hour seminar. Goes back to 11 years ago, I believe. 20, Oh, in 2013. So it was a while ago. Very cool. We'll see you next time. Later.